so yeah, like my current job, I'm working at SKC doing reservation arts, teaching um, early reservation history when they first brought over pots and pans and spoons and stuff. And I kind of teach how we turned spoons into arrowheads and, used shovel handles for spears and used the metal for our own knives and whatever. And pretty much like a great opportunity to bridge the, old and new, kind of like right now. That's how I ran into you actually.
What do you mean?
Really, I should uh start out. My name is Buck Morjo, and I met Taj at a War Cry show playing heavy metal at Jay's upstairs. I believe you ran sound,
Oh
right?
yeah, that's right.
That
Ooh, we're
was
dating
awesome.
ourselves.
Yeah. Oh no, no one knows that, but still, awesome way to meet. And then I met you outside of that, and I told you, uh, what was it? The color of the apocalypse is
Oh,
purple.
purple.
Yeah, you know where I got that?
Huh.
Purple rain, purple rain. And you know what else? What's that other one? That other Prince song, "Purple Skies at Night." He says that too.
Interesting.
On his 1999 cover album, which you flip upside down, pretty much talks about today. Hey, not getting political.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certain people do have prophetic abilities.
I know, and he really talked about a lot of things. Well, you know me. I'm all like, they took Prince out, Rose, and talking about these people kicking off all the time. But it's it's a rough life to be such a big public figure. All that money on the table too.
And it's, I heard that a story that Prince took baths in placenta
Yeah,
juice, yeah, to keep his
yeah.
skin youthful.
See, they don't want to let that stuff out. He's talked about one thing, they're gonna end up. Oh, he's gonna talk about the placenta. No.
Then he also talked about chemtrails publicly on
Yeah,
a
a
talk
a
show.
talk show. Yeah, that was awesome. Actually, I'm like, wow. I
Dude,
mean,
and the way he hit it too, I think he elaborated like stating like, if you're in the neighborhood and the mood changes,
yeah,
he even went
because
that deep with it.
yeah, because people do. They go crazy, man. And it's probably just their frontal lobe getting plugged and stuff. Oh boy, we're already going off. Yeah.
Here we go. Take one, two. I'm gonna stop recording.
Yeah. No, that's all good. So, yeah. So, like, you should give us your name.
Yo,
And that,
did you get lit?
huh? No, no, man. So,
I'm
like,
lit.
yeah.
I'm lit from earlier, so it's like I just finished putting a floor in my bathroom,
Oh, man.
and the only way to get me through was just taking a few puffs off the joint here and there.
Oh, I know. And that's crazy. I'm glad that that's being decriminalized. Tell you what,
Oh, I
a
hear
lot
you.
of a lot of druggies, deep on the res druggies too, man. They're getting themselves better on the side with that because
Hmm.
they can't afford professional help or whatever.
Yeah.
And it really is the only thing that helps them. Alcohol too, it helps them with alcohol too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Back to those
Yeah.
cannabinoids.
Yep. Yep. Kept grandma off of the cancer for years with those oils. Yep.
And I
Doctor
was,
even doctor even asked how, what and how and everything, and we didn't tell him. he said, well, whatever you're doing, Amy, I shouldn't be saying names anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, told her whatever you're doing, keep doing. I like that I already have it set up like, oh man, we shouldn't be talking about some stuff because really we shouldn't. I'm gonna probably put it on, you know, different platforms if you can ship me the audio.
Well, my judgment is we'll edit, you know,
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
chop it.
chop it. And I like that. Some of the best videos I watch are pretty edited, and it's just the guy at a desk talking, but it'll.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. So yeah.
So it's pots and pans and forks and stuff.
Oh yeah, so like you take all the interesting items for farming and ranching, and you look at it with Native American eyes, and you're not thinking farming and ranching. You're thinking, how can this help the culture that I'm already living in? Much like what we're doing right now. How can I use this stuff, the technology, to you know, propagate, is that the right word? I mean, the culture, you
Yeah.
know, and it keeps it alive. Us just having a dialogue right now keeps it alive. You know, and if I can put it out on different platforms, even better. And even at the college, I got used to recording myself instructing how to do all the same stuff, but miniature.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. Interesting. Crazy times.
It's interesting to hear your voice back to yourself sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It is.
You know, I would do a lot of work with the kids, and we do recording, like when we were working on the Buffalo Unity Project in Poplar. We'd be like, okay, we're gonna write something, and then tomorrow I'd bring the mic in and stick it on the desk. Tomorrow you're gonna record, and kids would be like,
Right.
what? No way.
Man. And you're teaching them to have a voice, that they have a voice,
Yeah.
you know, and that's important as Native youth. And that for me was the first time I was recorded doing music, war cry stuff. Everything was all analog, and I was still blown away. I just sat in front of my little Fostex name
Ford
drop
Tracker.
four tracker, cutting and clipping and trying to make. Pretty soon it was this, you know, because you could stop it and come in, and you had a button you could hit and stuff like with your foot. Pretty high tech for 91
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, for me it was anyway. And it's
90.
hard to get
Yeah.
technology on the res, but I always had that crazy horse vibe of like that class I teach. You take the old and see things with your eyes. So when I look at these computers and these things, I see a way to outreach and a way to like leave something for the youth, because they're not going to go to the camp, live in the woods in the teepee with me anymore. Those days are gone. These kids might sit down for 20 minutes and watch us jive back and forth way before they do that. You know what I mean? And then them hearing you speak about giving other kids an opportunity, you know, with the express to speak, all that stuff. Yeah, it provides a native voice, which everything I ever wanted when I was a kid. That's why I gravitated to uh, you know, anything music and guitar oriented, recording also, all of it.
Wasn't it
And
just like the artist expression? You know, like for me,
mm-hmm.
like I did a set yesterday or two days ago at this festival, Forest
Oh nice.
Creatures, and I
Oh
did a day
nice.
set. And the day I went Friday, and they said, "Well, you could get the 4 a.m. set," and I'm like, "Man, that's like in 5 hours."
Right.
Tired.
Right.
Slept in the van. The intention was to wake up at 4, but I woke up at 6, and I was like, "Oh, it's the
Oh
sunrise set.
man.
There's no way I'm getting on." You know, the
Mm-hmm.
coveted DJ and dance time.
Right.
So rolled out, did tacos that day, and then I was like, man, put my name down for Sunday. Made
Yep.
tacos, closed the taco shack down early, had leftovers, and I was like, man, I saw their griddle. I could put 8
Yeah.
tortillas in the kitchen.
At a time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went back to the festival, cooked those 20 tacos up because I had everything. 20 minutes, got on stage right when people were eating my tacos and I was performing. It was like so cathartic to be back with the songs that I had written years and years ago, up to like
Right.
8 years ago, and to recite
Man.
those words.
Yeah. Exactly. Huh.
But then also the context of that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. Because I was like,
Yeah.
man, how did that verse go again? I'm in the car like listening to my music because I'm like,
Good.
really?
Yeah.
How did I lose that cadence?
And you're a wordy rapper. I mean, with kind of bigger words too. I mean, you have to be educated sometimes to hear everything you're saying.
Soak it up. Street smart,
Soak it up.
street art.
Yep, it is, man. And you're fast. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. That's some pretty neat stuff. But and you also have a point. Every one of your raps, I always have something gold out of it. And if it rhymes, it must be true.
That's a good one.
Right.
Well, it's
So
just that artisan thing, like when we did the Calming Before the Storm
mhm.
video, which you can find on the Express to Speak website and Native Arts and Traditions, um, which will have key tagged underneath this thing wherever it's at. But
Yeah.
it was like watching your expression with being in the teepee, you getting your buckskins on, showing everything an aspect as we first created the sound
Yep.
bed,
Yep.
and then vibing with it with the speaker and the teepee, and then just being like, let's take it to the next level, and you sharing that aspect of art, and
Mhm.
that's what I feel. It's like the art is the spirit, well, the main component, I would say, of
Oh yeah.
spirit's expression.
Well, I always tell people, well, not always, depending on the people, um, one of the greatest ways to honor creator is creativity,
Hey.
and stick to that kind of thinking, and you're gonna find in your, all that in your heart. And if you're following your heart, though there's bad in there, we all like have an ego. But I was taught real young, and this is a real big, my tribe's bitter at Salish or flathead, because of the hand sign. We wore our hair like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have this thing about our greeting is stemas peus. And when I would know it was you that was in the War Cry show, is because I would hear way in the back "Stemos Boos," and I'd have to be like, eh. No, I didn't know what to say because I'm in mid stage metal show. How are you guys doing tonight? "Stemos Boos." I'm good. Bye. What a and that tell me your heart. It's all about your heart, because your heart is where it's transparent, honest. You know, you gotta stick with the heart expression, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the heart, like just doing it like Express to Speak, is like where the heart, getting kids and myself, like, because I'm not tell the kids, man, I got my own things I'm going through. I'm not saying I'm a foremost authority on
Hmm.
operating specifically from the heart, but
Right.
it there's another reality that, like earlier we were talking about the great mystery, and tuning into different ways of perceiving the world, and like having paradigm shifts in your perception,
Yep.
where it all just collapses and something anew rises,
Right.
with
Yeah.
that deepening of like art and doing your work.
Well, I really believe, well, there's like, putting Salish culture aside and like prophecies and different things like that. I definitely believe that we all have a job to do, and it's not like what you would think, where it's like, oh, we need to get out there and everyone pick up garbage and protest oil spills or whatever. I think what we need to do is start uh, really perceiving from the heart. You know, the only way like we're gonna change anything is to have a change of heart. Like if we're all just like F it, you know, but then we're just gonna ride whatever's going down. But if you have a change of heart, you have that change of perception, like you're saying. Now you can actually I learned this thing where it's like thought, word, and then deed. So in Salish, it's the word inpustin. Inpustin, the in means like in your heart, and pus comes from spus. Remember stema spus, the how's your heart? What's your heart? And then tin, or the tin part means like a tool. So in your heart, like tool, pustin. So we have a word where like it's thought, word, and deed. So you have the thought from your heart, and then the because I believe your heart also has a brain. We think as Indians like that too. You can think from your heart. My mom told me that, like when I was a little kid. So like there's your thought, and then your word is like when you tell mom such and such, I really wanted such and such. You take that and it comes out into the vibrational frequencies, and sometimes you might feel it so strong you have to draw an image of it, or make a music about it, because it's bigger than words, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have light to mess with, and we have sound, you know, to mess with, and we can change the reality. Deed, you can actually physically now go out and maybe pick up that can, and it's bigger than just that can you're picking up now. It's from your heart, and you've said it to people, I don't like all these cans, and then you go out and pick one up. That already creates what we call a medicine, a sumesh, a spiritual power, man, like planting a flag. Like that's what us warriors should do, is go around and use that power we have, because it's a straight connection to creator. That's how I believe. And we have no excuse. Any human being on this planet has no excuse. We all are thinking stuff, saying stuff, and doing stuff. So we need to start thinking from our heart, man. Oh, I went off too long that one. Sorry.
No, that's good, bro. That's a good cut. You know, Mama always used to say, like, we used to have like the images of Jesus and Mary around, and they'd be pointing to the heart.
Yeah.
Mom always
I always
talked
seen
about
that
the heart.
opened up. Yeah.
Yeah. And she'd
It
always
seemed
say
like,
there's a portal in the heart.
you know, before they had that big old that big Spanish flu, and that World War I, and all those European stuff they had going on, and then it just left this whole generation of kids going like, oh. Anyways, before all that, oh, what were you saying? I was gonna tie that in.
Oh, the portal in the heart?
Oh yeah, before all that, all the way back in the classical and Baroque period, I think they knew stuff, man. Look at the architecture. We can't. I know.
Of course.
I look at you. You're not you Europeans, but I'm speaking out there to the
Same.
world. I look at you Europeans, and how come we don't build that kind of fancy stuff no more?
Exactly.
And you know what it tells me? I know with my tribe, we were so healthy, wealthy, doing well, that we decorated our spoons, yo. We had enough time to tie one hair at a time of a porcupine fur to make a whole head roach. we had time, and that's because we weren't starving. We weren't all running from scary. We weren't having Spanish flus. Weren't having world wars. Our way of fighting was to touch you and say, I could have killed you, you know, and you would be like, he could have totally killed me, and went home dishonored, probably wishing he killed you, because now everyone's like, bro, you just let that kid do that to you? No, man, it was whatever. I tripped, you know. But next year you're gonna live, and next year you're gonna see that kid and be like, oh, I remember your war paint. You're the guy that tripped me and counted coup, and you're gonna fight harder next year, right? You're gonna like, I see his war paint, I'm gonna go after him, and you might have a big old fight out, and sometimes to the death in those kind of wars, but not a lot of, you know, because you have to be accountable. I just took away some tribe's hunter, and that's like, at least 3 deer and an elk a month, if they're teaming up, right? And that's a lot of meat and produce, and back then your men were heroes, whereas nowadays we have us Indian males have this urge to go to the bar and fight it out with each other, because we're still like in that warrior mode or whatever, we still, our genetics are still made for running down buffalo and stabbing them with spears and stuff. So we're like genetically high octane people, and then you don't give people alcohol that are like that, man. That's the worst thing you do, is feed alcohol to the Native American. I'm serious. It's like giving a regular, I don't know. We're high revved. Our genetics are made for going off of a few berries and some dry meat, and our genetics, and yours too. In a lot of cultures, the men used to be treated as like heroes. There's your action heroes. You didn't have no movies or TVs or comic books and all that. You had us, me, you. And just the fact that we came home alive after that hunt makes us a hero. Just the fact that we and that's not even if we brought meat home or not. It's just the fact that we made it home alive. There are enemies out there, and there are dangers out there in the wild or whatever, right? So I think like a lot of men nowadays, their only resort is like sports, or even just watching sports on the TV. They're filling that need. And yeah, and all men are warriors in my belief, and all warriors follow their heart, and all warriors have to think creatively, because otherwise, we're all just out there running wild, and that's what's happening on a lot of reservations, that we have no like right now, just us talking with this gear and this microphone, and the fact that we can put it on so many different platforms. I already know that like 3 youth locally said, oh man, I would listen to you. What are you going to talk about? So I already feel like a responsibility, like, oh man, kids are going to like, at least I'll have one kid at least listening. If I keep do this, out of the 3, one of them's going to keep listening, right? And they're going to like follow you and see what he's doing, just like we do when we find our favorite guys on the YouTube,
and the ether webs that are speaking the same language and want to have more of a depth of understanding. That back to that kind of was like that that primal, and ancestral
Yeah.
call,
Yeah.
that has been replaced by, I mean, an artificial context to a certain
Mm-hmm.
extent, like this
Mm-hmm.
artificial world of materialism and consumerism and pay the bills and have us on the rabbit chain
Right.
treadmill so that we can barely even think.
When I got my regalia together, and you should think of this too, you really spend a lot of time in your colors and thinking about what colors and what represents you. Me, I chose like a lot of evening dusk colors, and there's pinks and purples in it, and there's no male female when it comes to color in Indian way, and so you really spend time on your colors and how the order of your colors. And I see that in football teams, and people will be wearing their team's colors, right? And they're
Yeah.
and they're really proud. And I'm like, a long time ago, you would have to come up with your own colors and figure how to come up with that paint in nature, because you're gonna have to find the right rocks or the right plant. If you want purple, man, you're gonna have to get huckleberry and goose poop. I'm serious. It's purple's a hard one.
Yeah.
Or if you're on the coast, I think you can do seashells or something, but that's not my tribe.
That's interesting because I just had some friend give somebody some paint that he had made,
Mm,
and then just hearing a conversation about different colors and what can be used. Not that I caught any of it, but
right.
just to catch that and to hear you
Just
say that clicks it together.
Oh man, it's so cool. Well, like I even do my own beads, man. Like you take your turkey when you have your when they do Thanksgiving. I'll go hit everyone's Thanksgiving that had Thanksgiving and go make a sandwich and dig through their bones, because there's two leg bones in every turkey that make the perfect hair pipe beads, for a
Ah,
breastplate.
yeah.
And they're already hollow if you cut the little knobby ends, right? And then you put a string through it with a needle and dry them all up in the sun, and then you can clean them out and then dye those, and there's your beads. See, we didn't get them from Czechoslovakia and Japan in the old days. we we made our own, and you could take those long bird bones and still cut them into tiny little beads,
Uh-huh.
and still get the same effect. Rocks are cool too, but you're only left with pretty big stones like centerpieces and stuff,
Yeah.
which is like a fire drill. I mean, a fire drill, a bow drill for making fires,
Fire.
or drilling holes for your flute. You can put a rock that's denser than, like, say, the sandstone you're doing, and do the same thing, and you'll put a hole through it. You gotta flip it over halfway, but you put a hole through it. I heard a story once that our people on this continent had metal once, and we started killing each other. I actually heard it was giants gave it to us, and then the giants started killing themselves, and then we started killing each other just like the giants were. I don't know. Get some pretty wacky stories out there, but Indian legends, right? I can say that.
Well, and
And,
that
and
that oh, go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah, that
Oh,
just
I
like
was
makes
gonna say we gave up metal and went to what European saw us using, you know, stone and obsidian and chert and flint. Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah,
What? Oh, you were talking about like legends and myths and stories,
yeah,
and that kind of ties into another aspect of the heart, and then another part of the spirit. I feel is like the imagination,
yeah.
to be able to entertain fluently and ethereally and concretely and all the above, to let go and to bring in a
Right.
theory, to be
Mm-hmm.
real fluent. I once an old man told me one time, take theory like a feather, not an anvil,
Mm-hmm.
so you can just play with it, and
Exactly.
it
It
doesn't
should.
weigh you down.
You should do some mind. Oh, exactly. Like when I read the Bible and or any ancient scripture, I'm reading it with like this Indian brain that isn't colored by European concepts of women and the afterlife, and I'm not colored. So when I read it, like to me, it's awesome, and I have no problem for the Old Testament Yahweh or whatever saying go and take out that whole tribe of whatever ites, because in our stories that's what we did, and that's why our pipestone is sacred, is because we all banded together and took the giants, took the land from the giants. And that's another legend. Weird, huh? But I have no problem with like a lot of that stuff. I know other people have big hang-ups about Bibles and Jesus and stuff, and I'm just here to say, man, if you had my brain, it's a pretty cool book.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting because, walking this spiritual path,
Yeah.
you know, I've had like these strong encounters with the Jesus, the Cristo.
Oh man,
it's just been
just
interesting, the intertwining of things sometimes.
like that's a trip, because he's the word, he's the original sound, he's the force. You remember thought, word, and deed, and the creative force that we can do. Well, the original creative force was thought, word, and deed, and he's the word, man. And someone sang you a song, I bet, in Peru, and you had to confront or that song. Someone sang a song, because that happened to me before, where I confronted the word, and it had nothing to do with Bibles and churches. That's for dang sure. It had to do with someone saying a song, and it brought me to my heart, man. And there was a creative force there that was like, rise. Yeah, I even put it in my lyrics, rise, except it's all heavy metal. Rise, all yelling around. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it, man. Sometimes sound or art really can, and just nature, of course, all of nature. That's all they're singing about, because everything's singing. Trees are. You seen the YouTube where they're putting the mic right to the trees, and he's running it through. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll have to. I'm sure, like from this, you could like type in guy who advertising for YouTube through that guy. He's but he does mushrooms, all sorts. Everything sings. And I told when we were watching, I said, look, they're just now finding out that everything our people have been saying is real, right? Everything we've always been saying, the song in everything, how it's all connected, and not to get the circle of life line stuff, but you know what I mean? Like it's in a real way, everything is in communication with each other, and we're the only ones that try to cut ourselves off of it. Well, I hope somebody listens to that I just said.
No, I feel like that, back to the thought, word, and deed,
Yeah.
reminds me of the context of the Buddha, and just all of, being in the present moment, being in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
having
Mm-hmm.
that perceptual shift, that sumesh, that medicine, and being in tune with
Well,
everything.
you think of well, like any monk, really, they'll sit there, and because Indian way is a little different. Indian way is more confrontational with the creator, not like argumentative, but I will say um, like this, and then when he comes, when your prayer and your song reaches out, it hits you like this, and you really do drop to your knees in a real way, and it's not like stand, sit, and doing
For
what
sure.
some guy tells you, you feel the creator just like, you're gonna kneel, buddy, you know, and your hands are still trying to be confrontational, you know. I could see why some people want to huddle up and stuff, but I've been in tears and have had myself leaning over with just wind holding me up, and that was my first time I met the creator. And but I know other people have different ways, and just think of how long a monk has to sit and meditate to get his satori, where everything is lined up perfectly all at once. When, you know, because they're using their own skill and their own frontal lobe and their own self-discipline, whereas the Indian is just like ready to die right now. And then when you confront that, and he drops you to your knees, that satori lasts your whole life. And as a matter of fact, you're left with a mission to try to like help other people.
Insane.
You're a warrior now.
Yeah.
You have to do stuff like I told this one kid who's all into RPGs, you know what those are, the role-playing games, the internet and the D and Dungeons and Dragons and all that. And I told him, I kind of joined the guild when I was on a mountain one night. He's like, what do you mean? Well, I'm kind of now a chaotic good. And if someone like is robbing a grave, I'll probably have to stop them. So I'm sucky to have on a mission with you, bro. And then it's like, if we're going and we're having a good time and we're going down the path and something is someone needs help, sorry for all you guys that are on the mission with me. We stop and I have to go help. And a lot of times you're playing with other RPG dudes that are like, no, I don't like playing with you. You have to keep doing everything. And that's me in life. I explain it like that. I joined the guild and now I have to help and I have to do right as best as I can. And that's warriorship. And there's no boss in my guild other than creator, I guess.
Insane.
Right? It's in here. It's my heart, you
Insane.
know? Mm-hmm.
You know, that reminds me of the word impeccability. We've been reading this book in men's group called The Craft of the Warrior.
Oh, I like the title.
And the definition of it, yeah, when you get, this is it right here. The Craft of the Warrior, Robert Spencer.
Nice. I like that. Is that some Japanese art?
Yeah, but it's
Cool.
It's very cool. Like this particular author, I read it in 2004 and it changed my life. In fact, I wrote a song, Lights, Camera, Action, because of the book.
That's my favorite song.
Oh, word.
Are you serious?
That is this book, bro.
I literally walk around singing. That's like the only one. I mean, not saying, you know, your new stuff, but that one resonates, man. And I walk around saying, well, best I can, some of the lyrics. Rose does too.
Bro, that came from this book. So
really,
I've been sitting with this men's group for about a year and a half, and now we've broken up into a big group and a small group, a triad, and we've been going through. We went through the 4 agreements first, and then I said, let's start reading the craft, and now we're about to finish this. Anyways, make a long story short,
yeah,
it reminds me of the word impeccability, always doing your best without attachment to outcome. Without
attachment, exactly. Yep.
Following your path of heart.
And I used to try and I helped out with like church groups, Salish culture committees, and school activities, after school activities, teaching Salish, ran Bible studies because people like how I read the Bible back to them, and I ain't afraid to go into the original language because I teach Salish, so I'm like into different languages, well, at least kind of into it. And uh, uh, so I got roped into those things, and I had myself stretched out so thin in community activism. You know, if I would have read that book um, without accountability, because I put myself under so much pressure to do what everyone else thought was right, when when um, I done obviously more good doing me. You know, like and part of doing me has to do with warriorship, dissolving the ego, so it ends up back at you.
Hmm.
Hmm. So when I do myself healthy and try to do right, it ends up being better for everybody, you know. And it shouldn't be like other people coming at you, like I'm not say about culture committees or church groups or schools or nothing, but it's better what we're doing right now will probably even leave a bigger mark out in the world. Weird, huh? And here we are all in our own little room by ourselves, and it might have a bigger impact. That's crazy to me, but that's that old new thing, you know.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
old new thing.
yeah,
I was driving down the street today and I was like, I'm constantly looking for like, I'm a picker, but I try not to pick too much, like, because I'll
right,
end up with too much stuff.
yeah,
But now I'm like, I always keep my eye out for free piles. I'm always, and to
yeah.
me, that's just like this kind of almost like modern day hunter gatherer, you know, on some
Hmm.
level, archetypally in this
You know,
society.
I mean, not to say like anyone out there in the world become a hoarder, but I'll tell you what. Say you got let's start small. Say you got a deer, right? Well, if you take one deer hide and scrape both sides, got it to rawhide, turn that into leather with the brains. Now you're already using the brains to make the hide into leather for your shirt. Now you're making a shirt, but in order to have a shirt, you need the sinew. So you pull the sinew off the back strap and all the connective tissues, connect all that sinew, because now you have to break one of the deer's bones to get it shattered, to make a needle, to hook your sinew through, to start sewing your clothes. By the time you're done with your because a bone, you can make say scrape your hide. Well, the bottom bone, which usually people throw away or leave in the woods, we leave them in the woods unless you're going to make a bone scraper to scrape said hide. And then you can make the other one into like kind of like an edged chisel, because once you crack the skull with the rock, you can take the other one and pop its cap open, take the brains out. Now you're doing your hide. Dude, by the time you're done, there's nothing left. Take the other leg bones or the scapula. You can harden with a fire and grease and sharpen those into knife shapes and spear shapes and arrowhead shapes. And take for instance, and I'm not saying everyone like keep your stuff and reuse it to this point, but um, when your knife breaks, well, now you have an awl, you know, for poking holes for sewing. Well, when your awl breaks, well, now you have a needle for getting the string through. When your needle breaks, there's nothing left for the any enemy tribes to find. It's gone. It's you're back to woods when we leave.
Yeah.
There's no garbage. Everything, by the time it's done being used, you're left with a broken needle, bone size. It's dirt. It's gone. And that's the whole deer. You know, even the if you turn the and wash the guts out, you know, you can use that for because it'll dry and tighten just like rawhide, and if you can cinch it up, you can use all that scrap that you scraped off, that isn't meat but like the membrane and the really goop, and some of the hide you might have to cut off. You can make glue with that to make said projects and
Wow.
clubs and bows. So uh, the whole thing is, whether it's a buffalo or a deer or a turkey, the whole thing gets used. You know what I mean? Everything. There's no garbage. So that innate feeling in you is because you're in touch with the earth. The earth has you've been somewhere where you were able to shut off the world enough that it sang its song or whatever I put it, and you heard that, and now you have this want to like reuse or reimagine something, you know. And I'm really bad for bottles, because especially if they're glass, because I can make arrowheads out of the bottoms. And you know, imagine all green and brown arrowheads on your arrow set. I charge $1,000 or $2,000 for that. And so like there's these bottles, and the clear ones look just as cool, except you know, like there's too common. The clear ones are too common, but they still look just as cool. They're like, oh, is that a glass arrowhead? And I would say, well, like, so is obsidian.
Yeah,
obsidian is just volcanic glass.
Yeah.
To my antler, it's the same stuff when I make it, you know. Oh, that's another thing. Your antlers are what you need to make arrowheads and knives. You know, nothing is wasted. And if we as a people could just like have that heart, not necessarily have to go back to primitive days, but just to have that heart, I think companies would think about the future. Well, we made 100 billion of these, and they're going to all wear out, and the warranty is going to end in about 8 years. Now, in 8 years, there's going to be a lot of lead in the landfill. I wonder if this is a good thing. Oh well. So if they had that change of heart, you know, and I think us talking, even though we're by ourselves in our own room, I would believe that even if I just sang a song and no words to it and had that feeling, it would do the same effect. But I like that there's two, because in our way, when there's two of us, then there's no stopping it. It's like creators here with you, and that's why it's important to gather. That's why Indians have powwows, and we celebrate everything, you know. You know, the sun's up. Oh, let's have a celebration today.
It's good.
And you should. That should be how you live life.
Yeah.
As a warrior. Aren't you thankful you're still alive when you wake up?
Oh,
when
yeah.
You're a warrior, you are. I just chased a mama bear today and had to be wary about her 2 cubs. So I had to stop chasing her and make a decision to let her tree herself and to let her chill out. Because I just seen, you know, I was just chasing a bear out of the yard because I got kids too. I'm kind of mama bear myself. Well, you know, kids anyway. And so every day, and even scarier than that, people who have to drive on those roads every day, man. I'd rather chase a bear out of my yard than be on the road daily. Hate to say it, but you know, let me speak as an Indian here. You're all crazy. You're all worried about the wrong stuff, man. You know, those roads are dangerous, and but the point is still, you're a warrior. Good job being on them roads and making it home, because there's a lot of crazy drivers. I'm not saying you are, right? You know, yeah, that's the thing, man. There's a lot of danger in this world, and you should be grateful and thankful you wake up every morning. And what that does is strip away all fear, and now all you're left with is gratitude. This second, boom, gratitude. this second, boom, gratitude. And that's how you live like a warrior. You don't stop to uh uh worry about like uh fear of the future of my life might be sucky in the future. When you're a real warrior, you're just grateful for a bunch of right nows.
Right now, it's back to the present moment.
Back to the present moment. I knew
Yeah.
you'd like me tying it back to that book, but I got to read that book. Sounds like.
Well, the cool thing about the book is like we can compare notes. We're about to put this. We got big group this week, but next week we're gonna break it down to a vocabulary list and laminate it both front and back.
Yeah. Oh man, that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
And I love how you take it from their mind and you make them practice word and deed.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. And by the time they're done with that paper, that's it. You've brought it into the physical realm, their heart.
Yep.
And they needed that. I guarantee it. Everyone in this modern world ain't living like me. We're like gratitude in every second.
Yeah.
Most people's worried about the future.
Oh yeah.
The future of this, the future of that. Man,
well, even just going through the pandemic, you see how so many people are fearful about.
You know what's the opposite of fear? Is love, man. And if we get together, even if it has to be on Zoom, that's the opposite. And you know, and once people are let go of their fear, whether it's chasing the bears or pandemics or
Whatever it is,
highway 93.
Yeah.
If you look up the stats right here locally, bad to drive. The statistics for nationwide on this local highway are pretty bad. So like, I'm not joking. There is, you're right, there's a lot of possibilities of danger. And even more so, as a warrior, I give this to all you people that might listen. As a warrior, you should be even more grateful for your right nows and be present every moment. And I know it's hard work because I have to be present for myself and my children, or you have to be present with whoever you're at work with. And it's hard, and it's hard work. Like I said, it's like joining that guild and you're like, oh man, I want to have fun and go raid the tomb too and get free stuff. But you know what, guys, I'm going to have to stop you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. You know, you become a warrior. And I think we need a way to express as Native people, Canada and down into South America. This world needs to hear our voice, whether it's music, rap, because there's a lot of Native rappers that are getting the voice and starting to say some pretty good things. I shout out to Superman for starting that kick in. So you don't have to like talk about misogyny and how tough you are. When I rapped, that's what I did. I was I'm so cool and tough and cool, boasty. But I'm from a time where it's like Public Enemy, dating myself here, and just into the beginning of like maybe your NWAs and stuff. Not it didn't get all like too crazy like it is now. I mean, though NWA was like, we knew that was humor though. Mm-hmm. We knew that was taking stuff that they had seen growing up where they grew up, and they compiled it into humorous stories. Because I liked Ice-T and NWA a lot, man. But I was into Public Enemy, and when it started changing away from Public Enemy to the other thing, I kind of tried to dangle on for a little bit, and then the next closest thing I got into that was close to rap was Rage. Mm-hmm. Rage Against the Machine. Then they made me like, see, you can do that, and it's cool still, and you can talk about real things. You know, you don't have to like really be total misogynistic. But I know when I tried to rap, I like talking about tough things and expressing our manhood in a sense of like, we need a way to express that, no, I am a warrior. I will stand up and be tough if I had to, or, you know, given the situation, especially for me, I had to like make fictional situations where I'd be tough and then write a rap about that. Hey, that's the way to do it. Self-expression, man. You know.
It is. It's
Hmm.
like that's the only, like, just like coming back to that set I did the other night. It was the most cathartic thing I think I did it in a minute. You know, like to
Man,
be able to relieve.
yeah,
And shoot, I was at Crow Fair last week
yeah.
working that drum mic, and it was funny because what was it?
Grueling
It was
work, by the way.
yeah, it was Blackhawk Jr. I was on that drum going back and forth on the arbor, and
Yeah.
Chris Parrish, Superman, popped up to the drum, and I was like, "Man, what up?" And he was like,
What?
"What up?"
Yeah,
And then
man.
we were doing the drum competition, and when he was doing he was one of the judges. Then I seen
Mm,
him the next day at the. It was cool to see him. That's where Express to Speak started, with him in Fort Peck in 2007.
really? Oh
Yeah, we
man.
taught the kids the four elements of hip hop and taught it from like an indigenous perspective, that it was, you know, drums,
Yeah,
dance,
yeah,
graffiti,
yeah. Art. Yeah.
you know. So,
Symbols. It's
yeah.
symbolism. Yeah, totally. Smart, man. Well, that was a good thing you did there. I even seen him, and he did a show even with Warcry, I think twice, which is
Wow.
weird because
Yeah.
we're like a like kind of heavy metal, death metal band, and here's this like real positive rapper, and I was like, oh man, I hope this like Slayer crowd doesn't get all weird, but when it's true and from your heart, which I
See?
think for him it is,
Yeah.
it hit, it cut right through all that scene bullshit.
Hmm.
Sorry,
No, I hear you.
my first cuss word. Dang.
Well, we should probably wind down here because we got about an hour in.
Shoot, that's pretty good. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. Well,
One thing I don't understand is I don't, when I stop this recording, where does it go?
um, hit. You know, yeah, I would just hit Rose up because she did this for me before. Oh, it
Okay.
has when you stop.
Because
Uh,
it's got to go somewhere once you stop it.
I know. Um, yeah, I'm really gonna look like I know. Oh,
Well,
but
it just says stop. It's got to go somewhere. Hey, so let's close this up. Like, I'll just pop in 3, 2, 1. Yo, Bug, man, it's been good talking to you.
right. That's a good one. Well, no kidding. Well, Taj, make sure your name is heard. You know, I'm excited to hear your podcast, and I'm excited to put my foot in maybe this podcast realm um, uh, with you, man. And I think it's a good start, and us coming together. I think we should keep doing that, and we both should keep doing that, and having doing like this, having guests, uploading it to whatever platforms, sharing each other's thing, because I know your Express to Speak got already helped me out in my life because people seen that video, and we need to just keep on keeping on and keep doing the videos, content, you know. And if I have one thing in this world that I would have to say is, you have an opportunity. A native youth I'm talking to has an opportunity to have a voice, and right now, you know, even TikTok or whatever, not to advertise for anybody, but there's always a way to get your feelings out, and there's way more opportunities to be recorded. When I was young, we had tape players, and we had to put tape over the little holes so we could record ourselves playing our instrument or talking. And I did both. And if I could have put that tape out that I thought, I'm sure wouldn't have been very good, but at the time I would have put it out to the whole world and said, this is me. This is me talking. So like I say, get your voice out, get heard, because it's all about dialogue right now. We need to stop letting us be divided in the world, because that's the opposite of love is fear. Fear causes division. Now you can't even trust your homies, right? Because of fear. So like, I guess that's where I would leave it, man. If we could use any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, embrace what you fear with love.
Right. I like that.
So I'm going to pause this.